Hey, it's Bernadette. Welcome. We're going to cover chronic health issues today. I haven't done a live about this in a while, probably a couple of months. So I want to talk to you guys about the root cause of some of the top chronic illnesses. And because I do biomagnetism therapy and I address the chronic illnesses from the root cause and have had fantastic results for things that doctors just prescribe meds for, tell you you've got to live with it and whatnot. I thought I'd come on. I was talking to one of my clients this morning, Susan, who you guys, if you've been following me for any amount of time, maybe you've watched the video I did, the interview with her. We're going to do another one updating her condition. And she had all kinds of stuff. So I want to kind of present this to you in such a way that I can educate you as to some of the root causes of some of the most common chronic health issues. And if you are suffering from any of these or know someone who is, share the video with them. So let me see. I'm going to share the video. Say hello if you're watching live. Or if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're here. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. Both y'all are shuffling in. So very cool. We're gonna go over this because there's some autoimmune disorders is like the umbrella for so many illnesses anymore. Like doctors will just say you have autoimmune disease. And if it's just like we don't know exactly what causes it, but we're going to put it under that umbrella, whether that's fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, even MS, although the recent research, which most people don't know about, is that MS is caused by Epstein-Barr virus. And usually it's not just Epstein-Barr. A lot of times you'll have Epstein-Barr and some other things. Now, I did a video some months ago about Epstein-Barr. You can look that video up. I'm not going to dive totally deep on things like Epstein-Barr, but I want to just go over the general symptoms of the top ones. So Epstein-Barr is one of them. So we'll touch on that. Also going to touch on lupus, like I said, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, but also liver problems, heart problems, nervous system disorders, respiratory disorders, IBS, right? All of these, like, we aren't sure what it is, but you're chronically ill with it. And we're going to put you on some meds and you're just going to have to deal with it. Even Crohn's and colitis. And I've worked on a client that has Crohn's and colitis, like endometriosis, another one of those. We don't know exactly what causes it. I mean, and when I say we, I mean Western medicine, the healthcare system, but they throw stuff at it. Med-wise, they don't address the real reason. So today I want to dive into that. And some of this may surprise some of you because it's not well-known information, although if you go digging long enough, you'll find it. The first one that I want to cover that causes fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, and it's something that we definitely place for with the biomagnetism and it treats it very quickly. That would be malaria. And most people think of malaria as, no, that's not here. That's India. That's Africa. That's Asia, right? We don't have malaria problems here. Oh no, one of the worst parasitic infections in the world. And you can get it from fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, right? In the days where we didn't have airplanes and we weren't traveling so easily around the world, it wasn't as much of a problem. You could isolate things like malaria. You can't anymore. And I mean, someone gets bit by a mosquito carrying malaria, travels to another country, bites somebody else, like a mosquito bites you, picks up that malaria from your blood, spreads it. That's how it spreads. Because people have asked me, well, how would malaria spread like in the US? Oh, it's easy. It's not as hard as you all think. But interesting because it is the root cause for things like chronic fatigue, and fibromyalgia and the body aches and all of that. You can get other symptoms with malaria too, but it's one of the number one pathogens that we look for when someone has a diagnosis of that. It's not the only pathogen, and it is a parasite. However, we do look at it. There is some research done by Dr. Garcia and Dr. Goyce, who was the founder of biomagnetism, biomagnetic pair therapy. They went to Africa and they did clinical studies there and treated people with malaria. And it's recorded. You can look it up. And with magnets, and resolved, I think it was like 75 or 80% of the people that were treated just with magnets, their symptoms resolved. They were tested negative. I think a day or two later, you can go look at the research. So the magnets work amazing for stuff like that. Someone was asking me what the difference is between in person, having the magnets put on in person versus long distance. Because I've been carrying long distance healing for so long and I have no problem with it. My clients, when I'm treating long distance, and most of my clients, like I'd say 90% of my clients right now are all long distance, can feel what's going on where I'm placing the magnets as if they're right there. I place them on a mannequin, and the mannequin's a proxy for your body if you get treated. So your body doesn't know any different when the energy is set properly and the energy is carried properly. So long distance in person doesn't matter. Sometimes I think with the amount of magnets I end up putting on people, because people are very sick right now, sometimes I think it's easier on the mannequin because I can put a whole lot more magnets in one session on the mannequin than I can on a human body. Like, it gets real heavy when you got 50 pairs, 60 pairs, 70 pairs of magnets on you. But malaria is the number one, and most people don't even realize that it is an issue here in the Western world. The second pathogen that is most prevalent, especially in the West, is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now, we've all heard about tuberculosis. There was a big outbreak a few years back in Mexico. People were testing positive. In California, it was spreading. But those were people who were symptomatic, right, for tuberculosis, and they actually tested for it. There are symptoms of tuberculosis where you're exposed to the virus, you don't have any symptoms right away, and then your immune system drops, you go under stress, something happens, or you get another bacteria, virus, pathogen, and all of a sudden the tuberculosis grows. A lot of medical workers have carried tuberculosis without realizing it. And here's the deal. Tuberculosis, when it's in the system, whether you're symptomatic or not, can cause insomnia. I'm going to go through the list. Insomnia, a chronic cough, kidney stones, endometriosis, vaginitis, testicular cancer, gallstones, bone spurs, alopecia, hair loss, hemorrhoids, hot flashes and night sweats, like menopause. A lot of people think that menopause, we're just supposed to have night sweats and hot flashes. No, not necessarily. That's usually a sign something's off. It's not all hormonal. Can be partially hormonal, but usually you've got something else going on. And TB is one of those things that you resolve it, and then all of a sudden the hot flashes are gone. Cataracts, another one of the things that TB is responsible for. It's also, TB, I think, is also, a lot of times it'll show up with lupus, but so does another pathogen called Proteus mirabilis is what causes lupus. You can have multiple pathogens, right? You can have multiple bacteria, multiple viruses, multiple parasites, multiple fungus in your body. The more you have in your body, the sicker you're going to be. When you're carrying pathogens in your body, eventually it affects your liver. Your liver is what produces your antibodies, right? When your liver gets overloaded because you've got a heavy load of pathogens, eventually it starts to back up. It starts to get congested. And if your immune system is not working properly because you've got all these pathogens. Then they put you on medication. Everything slows down. There's side effects to the medication. You end up getting sicker, not better. And then you're just told to live with it, which is why I'm sharing this information with you. Whether or not you ever come to work with me with biomagnetism therapy or not, doesn't matter. I want you to be aware of these things. They don't test for this stuff when you go to the doctor. They just don't. They don't have testing for it. Like Epstein-Barr every now and then, and you've got to push your doctor to treat or to test for Epstein-Barr. Epstein-Barr, EBV, they do not test for it. And when they do test for it, it's one variant out of 60 variants. There's 60 different types of Epstein-Barr. They only test for one. So you may test negative for Epstein-Barr, which is insidious. Epstein-Barr causes mononucleosis. Most people, if they've gone to college, ended up with EBV. A bunch of people in my high school in the 80s got mono, right? When you combine Epstein-Barr, what causes mono, and strep throat at the same time, it eventually will shut down your immune system. Here's the deal with Epstein-Barr, and I've studied all the medical journals and everything else. Epstein-Barr has the ability to affect your cells and turn off your body's ability, because it hides, I think, in the T cells, hides and goes stealth mode in the cells. So your body doesn't see it as a toxin anymore. It goes invisible, which means it can sit in the body and lay dormant for a very long time. Maybe you're not having any symptoms. Maybe your symptoms are very mild, and we'll go through some of the symptoms. If you really want to in-depth, like one of the best resources I can give you as far as understanding the stages of Epstein-Barr, the many things that it does to the body, is Medical Medium's first book. What is it? Mystery Illnesses. He dives deep into Epstein-Barr, probably one of the best books out there to the general public for layman's terms, what Epstein-Barr affects. But EBV is so prevalent and so many people have it and don't even realize it. But you combine Epstein-Barr with something like TB or malaria or strep, and now you're talking all of the markers for chronic illness. Epstein-Barr has been identified in the latest research too to cause MS, 4 different types of cancers that they've linked it to. And it can be responsible for severe depression, psychosis, schizophrenia, irrational fears, and anxieties, right? So like if you've done everything to try and treat your anxiety or severe depression, they've put you on meds, it's not doing anything. It's very possible that you have Epstein-Barr, because those medicines are not going to do anything if you actually do have Epstein-Barr, if that makes sense, because it's actually affecting the way that your brain is functioning. During the COVID outbreak, and I've talked about this before in a live stream, during the COVID outbreak with SARS-CoV-2 wasn't that bad. It was SARS-CoV-2 in people that had Epstein-Barr. And there's research in the medical journals since 2021 about this. The people that had Epstein-Barr in their system were the ones that ended up on ventilators. If you had Epstein-Barr in your system and you got COVID, it attacked your medulla oblongata, your brain stem, which is responsible for telling your body to breathe. So it was attacking, like people were not able to get breath. A lot of people with Epstein-Barr have what's called air starvation. They're breathing, but they don't feel like they can take a full enough breath. Epstein-Barr. Sometimes Epstein-Barr with tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is very much hides in the lungs. All of these will hide in the liver. Some will hide in other reservoirs within the body, the sinuses, the brain. Epstein-Barr is hard because, like I said, it goes stealth. It goes invisible. The body can't recognize it as a toxin, as a pathogen. It has a way to turn that off, the recognition off. And they have yet to figure out how the heck it's doing it, but they've watched it do it, and it's in the research. It's crazy. But here's the good news. Balance the body using something like biomagnetism, and you can actually get rid of Epstein-Barr. Epstein-Barr is part of the herpes family. So if you have like shingles, if you've gotten like the herpes, any kind of the herpes, the lip herpes, genital herpes, whatever, and it combines with Epstein-Barr, you've got way different symptoms than someone with just herpes, right? Herpes can be treated with biomagnetism therapy as well, and amazing results with that. But Epstein-Barr is responsible for some of the chronic fatigue as well. Like I said, they've linked it to MS. So you've got to address the root cause. Taking medicine or just accepting a diagnosis is pointless. It's pointless. I've actually been working with someone with hepatitis and myasthenia gravis, and we've improved her symptoms so much. I'm hoping to get her either an interview or just a written testimonial from her, because we've she hasn't been able to whistle in like 7 years. She can whistle now. We're getting the nerves, and myasthenia gravis affects the muscles and the nerves, especially around the mouth. Her tongue doesn't operate properly. She can't smile. But after the first or second treatment, of not being able to feel her teeth for that long, she can feel her teeth, and feeling starting to come back, double vision starting to improve, and not having periods of time, extended periods of time now without the double vision. So much can be improved. Susan, who I will bring back on, we've resolved so much of her stuff with reflux and constipation. She was on so many different medications. No more constipation, no more reflux, no more meds for those, no meds for high blood pressure, low blood pressure, none of that. And she had high blood pressure for a long time. Now her blood pressure is normal. You name it. And I'll let her tell you all of the things. There's so many things. We're down to the nerves now, and improving nerves from post-herpetic neuralgia and things that she's lived with for a very long time. But for those of you who are like, I had no idea, like, hemorrhoids don't just happen. It's a bacteria. Hemorrhoids a lot of times is from bacteria of tuberculosis. So we've got to go after it in whatever way possible. And you can be your own advocate when it comes to your health. If you go to the doctor and they're like, not much we can do, but give you this pill, give you that pill. I'm telling you right now, from the standpoint of someone, and this is why I got into natural medicine, for someone who healed herself of leukemia and colon cancer naturally, no chemo, no radiation, none of that. I mean, my doctor knew when I had the colon cancer. She's like, I know you're not going to do anything, but at this point, you're going to have to do something, or just bad. And my liver shut down. And I was able to reboot all of it. I used multiple modalities, supplements, natural medicines, native herbs and medicines, and had to go after it because I let it get so bad. So I'm telling you, I know the body's miraculous ability to heal. I don't care what your diagnosis is. I don't care where you're at. But here's the thing. You have to be willing to cleanse your body. And if you're real sick and you don't feel good, there are things that I suggest to people, like plant-based. If your liver's having a hard time, I will suggest to do, smoothies and juices for a month to give your body a chance to reboot, to give your body a chance to work on killing off the pathogens. You can't kill them off. I mean, if you guys understood the number of parasites, bacteria, fungus, and viruses I find in people, it's not just one. It's not like even this latest crud that was going around that was like part SARS-CoV-2, part COVID, part RSV, part hand, foot, mouth. Like, that's not even just one virus. We had to find all of them because it was a bunch together. And that is happening more and more. I'm noticing it with a lot of my clients right now. And that one, the latest version of what they're calling, I don't know what, I know it's not Omicron. I know it's not Delta. There's another name for it now. I don't even know what it is. I'd read it the other day, but I didn't memorize it. It's a combination of different pathogens. It's a combination of viruses. It's not just one. And it will knock you on your butt for a good 6 weeks. You may not have the breathing issues, or you might, but the fatigue lasts for a good month and a half. And for me, to get rid of the fever and the symptoms right away was amazing. But I noticed it took a minute for my body to completely bounce back. Now, I only treated myself one time with the magnets because I just didn't have time. Like I think I did, yeah, one treatment, not even two. I was thinking I did two. I think I did a patch session because I was having some other symptoms. One treatment, and it took care of it. I probably should have done more, but like I said, I had a busy schedule and it just was not possible. So any questions about that? Any questions about things going on with your body and you're starting to question it? Here's the thing I really want to be clear about for all of you. Heart problems don't happen. And that is one of the worst, like heart conditions is one of the worst epidemics in the world, but especially in the US, in the Western world, Canada. We have morbid obesity, we have diabetes, and even those things, there is a cause. It's you take care of the liver, you get rid of all of the pathogens, your body has a chance to bounce back. You have to change things though. The one thing I will tell you, all of you, I don't care if you have Epstein-Barr or not, do not eat eggs if you have any kind of chronic illness, whether that's lupus, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. Don't eat eggs because eggs actually feed viruses. That is what they were incubated in the labs, and they feed viruses. It's not worth it. Like, we've stopped eating eggs. It's been, gosh, I want to say since before Christmas, I think, since my family's had eggs, and I accidentally ate an egg that was part of something else. It was in a salad. I didn't even realize it. It made me sick for 2 days. My stomach was sick because it had been out of my system for so long. It was so not worth it. And I know you guys don't want to hear that too. But I'm telling you, one of my clients is doing a parasite cleanse, aside and apart from, she's not doing the magnets right now. I did a couple treatments on her months and months ago for COVID, as a matter of fact. But she was saying she was doing the parasite cleanse that I recommend. And she said she was getting the craziest stuff out of her body. And I can tell you with my client, Susan, months, hi, Carmen, months of candida out of her system. She didn't have a yeast infection or anything, but when we started to dig layer upon layer, candida was coming out, tapeworms, flatworms, roundworms, and flukes. And flukes are some of the worst parasites. They look like grubs. They're fairly big. They have hooky mouths on them. Almost everybody has them, especially if you've eaten meat. And they will go after the liver and cause all kinds of problems. And here's the thing. If you have parasites on top of viruses and bacteria, and you have chronic health issues, chances are those parasites have locked into different layers of your liver and your digestive tract. And when they like to eat old feces, I know that's not like, I hope none of you are eating, but in reality, that's what they do. They burrow in and they eat old stuff, but they also release toxins. And when they're releasing toxins on top of you having other pathogens into your system, how do you think your brain handles that? See, people that have malaria, tuberculosis, Epstein-Barr, any of the major ones, tend to have severe brain fog. Tuberculosis is one of the worst that I've seen with brain fog, but malaria will cause it too. But the people that have like massive, can't think straight brain fog, most of the time it's either Epstein-Barr or it's tuberculosis or a combination of the two. I want you guys to educate yourselves and understand that, like, if you've been going to the doctor, you've been trying to get better, you've been trying to resolve your issues, you don't want to be sick, and you feel like you can't rely on your body, and it's really depressing when you can't. I get it. I work with a lot of chronically ill people. You have a choice. You can do something like biomagnetism therapy. It's going to take more than one session, especially if you're chronically ill and you've been chronically ill for a very long time. But if you have something like reflux, that's fairly easy to fix. That's a combination of biomagnetism and a certain type of food protocol. I always recommend a certain protocol of eating when I'm working on someone to clear this stuff out of their body, because when you go into detox mode and you kill off these pathogens, sometimes you'll have die-off symptoms, which can include liver headaches, depending on how strong or how weak your liver is. Most of the people that have chronic illnesses, their liver is not operating at full capacity. So on top of detoxing the liver and killing the pathogens within the liver, then we have to regenerate the liver, and that can take time. If you've had gallbladder surgery and you don't have a gallbladder, it will cause even more problems, right? Some people that have all kinds of female problems, you've got cramps and whatnot, there's a reason behind that. Infertility, there's a reason for that. You take care of the cause, you fix it in the body and get rid of what causes the problems, and now you can finally get pregnant. I want to give you hope, and I hope that's what this does. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of people on the stream. I don't want to make this super long, but I do want to answer any questions while I'm here. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you're watching the replay and you have questions, you want me to do a different video on it, I can. Just put your comments in. I will check the comments. If you're interested in finding out if biomagnetism can help you, I do offer a free consult call. Just message me and I'll ask you a couple questions on Messenger, and then we'll jump on a Zoom or a call, and I'll explain how it works and whether or not it would be good for you. I think it's good for everybody, especially with all of the stuff going on right now. If you've had mold exposure and mold toxicity, and you've gotten a lot of infections, there's a reason for it. And mold is one of the harder things to detox. If you have heavy metal toxicity, we can work on detoxing that with the magnets too. It really is just about creating balance in the body, and magnets work amazing. If you've had heart issues, as long as you don't have a pacemaker, and actually, I mean, I can still work on people with pacemakers, just can't put the magnets around where the pacemaker is. However, if you have heart problems, a lot of times you address the underlying pathogens and the heart comes back. And there are placements for the heart as well to bring stability back to that. If you've had surgery and you've still got pain or issues from the surgery site, we can fix that. Sorry about that. Apparently somebody's home. So anyways, I hope that helps. I am going to bring Susan back. Her and I have been talking a lot about doing another follow-up interview. I'm going to be rebooting my podcast, Intuitive Intelligence Podcast, within the next few weeks. So watch for that. I'll let you guys know when the first episode's live. Got a lot building, and I'm doing a lot of stuff for you. I've got some new freebies for you that will help you if you're a people pleaser. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe, follow me, right? So that you get all the updates. And I know that Facebook and YouTube too, the notifications are being wonky. Lots of people are not seeing my stuff. You have to make comments. You have to like and comment. Don't just like the post. You have to comment. When you do, it populates the algorithm, but it also lets Facebook know that it's something you're interested in, and then you'll get the notifications. But you can hit the bell button, I think, on Facebook, or hit follow, and it'll let you know. You have a choice, like get notifications when I go live. So make sure that you're following me. Same with YouTube. And like I said, YouTube's been kind of weird too lately. I'm doing my best. That's why I'm going to reboot the podcast, because at least the podcast is just something you'll get notifications for, especially if you're on my email list. You'll get a notification that there's a new podcast, and I'll always post it on social media. So I hope that helps. I hope you're having a wonderful month. I know it's been wonky. I know this is an intense time. I am right there with you. A lot of healing taking place on so many levels this month, which is part of the reason why I think Spirit wanted me to do this live stream. Was a lot of people are ready to take their health to another level, to take their clarity of mind to another level, to up level in all ways. And one of the reasons I came back into healing last year was because Spirit kept saying, like, people can't get their spiritual life in order, their mental life in order, if their bodies are not cooperating. So I do both, bring the body back into balance on top of addressing the mental and the emotional and the spiritual stuff. So it is completely holistic, mind, body, spirit. Your one-stop shop. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you have any comments, put them in the comments. And whether you agree with me or not, do your own research. I'm here to spark some curiosity within you and give some answers to those of you who are like, I don't know what my deal is, and the doctors just keep telling me it's all in my head and I'm fine. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm kind of coming on and doing this stuff, is because so many people right now are so frustrated, fed up, and want to give up because they go to the doctor, they don't feel good, and the doctors are like, there's nothing wrong with you. We can't find anything. They can't find it because they're not testing for it. Doesn't mean that you're fine. It doesn't mean that nothing's going on with you. Seriously, it does not. And I'm sorry when the doctors say that. Like, it makes me very sad. Or they run you through a battery of tests and still nothing shows up, but you're not even better for it. You're just thousands and thousands of dollars poorer. Well, if you've gone through that, don't give up. You can come work with me if you want. We can address it. I can tell you exactly what has been going on, and we can get you back on track. Not as difficult as you think. And I'll tell you what, it's well worth whatever you have to do. I know when I was sick, I was willing to do whatever the hell it took to get better. And there were days when I was so weak, but I was a mom, single mom, like, gotta get better. And I know many of you are like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get better. Oh, you can. You just can't rely on the Western medicine to get you there. Oh, you're welcome. Welcome, 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 Carmen. Feel free to share the video, all of you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you later.